Halloween.
Happy Halloween, guys.
Welcome to the Murder Mukbang Show. I'm Ashley.
And I'm Brittany.
Tonight we're going to be talking about Richard Ramirez, also known as the Night Stalker. So we're going to go through this kind of quickly because my eyes are about to fall out of their head.
Yeah, you see that your girl right here don't even have contacts in because that's a giant fucking negative for me.
She can't touch her eyeball.
I can't even put my own eye drops in.
Oh, it's so creepy. So we're having taco dip that's in the shape of a spider web. And then we're also supposed to do mummies in a blanket, but meh.
Look.
We got a little too carried away. We got a little too carried away with our makeup, so
Yeah.
hope you guys like it.
What makeup? We're possessed.
Oh, yeah.
This is not makeup.
Yeah, okay, right. Sorry, I'm not very good at this. All right, let's begin. Yes?
Let's begin. So, Mr.
Wait, time out. I gotta figure out which side doesn't have the tomatoes, and I can't see. This side. This side has tomatoes. I'm good.
Okay. Cool.
Don't want you to get them.
Thanks. Appreciate it. So, Mr. Richard Ramirez, y'all. Now, before we start talking about this guy, I'm just going to put out there that this is probably one of the scarier serial killers for me.
Yeah.
Only because this man had no rhyme or reason to any of his crimes.
Nope.
He
didn't target specific people.
No, he didn't target specific people. He didn't use only one kind of weapon or means of murder. Like, it was just whatever he had available or whatever he felt like using that day. Or this guy, he just wanted to kill. That's it. He's an extremely evil person. You know, a lot of serial killers, they have like reasonings to do something, or sometimes they feel bad afterwards, or you know, no, not Mr. Ramirez.
Nope.
He just wanted to murder.
He was the devil.
So Mr. Ramirez was born February 29th, 1960 in El Paso, Texas. He was the youngest of 5 children. His father was he didn't really have a very messed up childhood. Like,
Well, with his mom and his dad.
his mom and his dad, it was a normal upbringing. Like, his dad could be a little bit, you know, mean and strict, I think, but it wasn't like he was getting beat every day. It wasn't like he was getting sexually assaulted or molested at home. Like, he had a pretty normal upbringing. He did, however, suffer quite a few head injuries before he was like 10 years old. And this is something else that we've talked about in other videos with other serial killers. Like, these men have these, you know, head injuries, and maybe that's some kind of cause for...
I think it is. I think that they have determined that frontal lobe damage causes some issues.
Yeah. So he... when he was 2 years old, he was hit by a swing on the playground and was knocked unconscious. And then there was another one. I can't remember what that one was. Do you have it written on here?
I don't think I do. But he did get hit in the head another time.
There was 2 head injuries before he was 10.
Yeah.
So he was pretty much having a normal life up until he was a preteen, which at that point he started hanging out with one of his cousins. His name was Mike, and Mike was a Green Beret in the Army that served in Vietnam. Now, Mike was a fucking psycho. Like, he did quite a bit of unspeakable and really heinous things when he was in Vietnam. He would rape and murder these Vietnamese girls and then take pictures. Like, he actually had one picture of a girl that he had raped and then decapitated and took a picture with her head. That was it, just her head.
And he showed these pictures to Richard Ramirez.
He showed these pictures.
Yeah.
Like, and it was like a show and tell for him. And instead of Richard being like, oh God, that's gross, like, ew, he was very intrigued by these pictures. He was fascinated, and it didn't gross him out, and he wanted to see more. So him and this cousin, you know, they hung out all the time, and Mike shared all these really gruesome details with him and started teaching him what I like to call military tactics. just how to be sneaky, how to go in somewhere undetected, just things that a preteen should not be learning, especially when you combine it with the pictures that he was also looking at
Right.
From these tours in Vietnam.
But, like, why would you show your 12-year-old cousin those pictures? That's what I don't understand.
Yeah. I don't get it either. But he showed it off. He thought it was the coolest thing, and that he wanted to share it with his cousin. And
yeah, obviously he had some PTSD.
Yeah, they definitely, I feel like, bonded over this common fascination with the morbid, and you know, just wasn't a good situation for Richard. Especially at that young age where you're developing into your own person, and when he's starting to get all these hormones in his body and starting to become, you know, a sexual person and thinking about and fantasizing about things, it just wasn't it wasn't smart for Mike to show him these things while he's developing, because now it's like he's
that's what he's associating.
Yeah, he's like associating sex with violence. He's like mixing the two together, and he thinks it's normal. So in May of 1973, Richard was actually over at Mike's house, and Mike and his wife had gotten into an argument, and Mike shot her right in the face, right in front of Richard. And instead of Richard being turned off by this or scared of this, it didn't really bother him. It didn't faze him, honestly. He watched somebody be murdered right in front of him, and it did not bother him.
Right.
So this was pretty much a turning point for Richard. Like, he's already seen so much at this point in his life, and it's only going to lead to worse things for him. He had then moved in with his sister and her husband. This is his brother-in-law. And his brother-in-law was a peeping Tom. He would go around the houses in the neighborhoods and watch people sleep, watch women undress, and showed Richard how to do this. So not only did his cousin, Mike, show him how to be stealthy and how to get in and out of somewhere undetected, but now he has another role model in his life pretty much showing him how to go around and look in people's windows and be a fucking perv.
Yeah.
So
great
good job, you know, family parenting, you guys.
Yep.
So around this time, Richard he had also started experimenting with LSD and was taking it quite often. He had already been smoking marijuana for quite a number of years, and he had to up his game a little bit. So he started messing around with LSD, and he was taking it multiple times a week. And this is when he also got into Satanism. He was raised Catholic, so he always had an understanding in his head about, you know, God, the devil, heaven, hell. He had an understanding of that. But then he got into the darker side and started worshiping Satan and doing what he wanted. And that's, I don't know if you guys know a lot about Satanism. I don't know if Ashley knows a lot about it, but
I don't do it.
They pretty much believe that you should be able to do whatever you want with no consequences. They do everything for power, and you know, it is what it is. You do what you want. You're your own person. You live your life the way you want to live it, no matter how it affects other people.
Okay.
Sort of thing. Anyway, so he started to get really deep into this, doing a lot of research, starting to dress a certain way, starting to listen to certain music, and all of that mixed with his drug use, the music they listened to, the Satanism. It started to create this perfect storm, pretty much, of a psycho. While he was in high school still, he obtained a job at a Holiday Inn, and he started to use his skills that his cousin taught him. He would take key cards to people's rooms, and while these people were asleep, he would sneak in, steal things from them while they're sleeping, and then leave. And all of this was done while they were still sleeping. So he was getting really good at sneaking in and being undetected.
Yeah.
He even went as far as one night he snuck into this couple's room, and he was actually getting ready to rape this man's wife, and the guy came back early from wherever he was at and caught Richard getting ready to rape his wife. He then beat the shit out of him. And Richard is still a teenager at this point, so just remember this is pretty much a child.
16.
16. Mm-hmm. And got the shit beat out of him. This dude did not hold back. Like, he fucked him up pretty good.
Knocked him unconscious.
Fucked him up
another
pretty
head
good.
injury. There you go.
Yep. And this actually would have went to court, and I feel like this could have stopped a lot of future things, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But because this couple was from out of town, they didn't want to stick around for the court case. So all the charges for that was just dropped. Like, like, you almost raped my wife. I stopped you from raping my wife, and
but we're not going to come back.
We're not going to press charges because I don't feel like dealing with the hassle of coming back into town for a court case. So, got to think, like, maybe if that guy wasn't such a fucking asshole, would have went to court, maybe all of this shit that we're about ready to talk about wouldn't have happened.
Yeah, I bet that guy feels guilty.
Bet you he does.
He should.
Yep. So at the age of 22, he moved to California.
All right. So on April 10th, 1984, a 9-year-old girl by the name of May Luong. Sure. Sorry.
Luong.
I'm not good with pronunciations. I'm not going to even pretend. She was found murdered in the hotel that her and her family were living at, as well as the same place that Richard Ramirez had been living at. He raped her. So this was his first murder, first confirmed murder. He raped her, beat her, and then stabbed her to death, and then hung her body up on a pipe. However, her murder was not solved until 2009, when they finally ran DNA tests, and they matched it to Richard. Mm-hmm. And also, there was a second suspect at that scene. There was a second suspect's DNA. That information has not been disclosed to us, but they are thinking that there were 2 killers during that, but they don't know who it is, and Richard obviously never told anybody.
At least for that first murder.
Yes.
They thought there might have been 2 killers.
Not for the Night Stalker murders or crimes. So so that began his rampage of killings. So I'm just going to kind of go through these lists kind of fast. Not super fast, but give you a little bit of detail in them. So on June 28th, 1984, a woman named Jenny Vinco was stabbed repeatedly, and her throat had been slashed so deeply that her head was almost decapitated, which is just insane. That takes a lot of rage. It takes a lot of force to do something like that, and that comes from a messed up individual. Mm-hmm. So next, so in between, I guess because our next victim was not until 1985, there's not a whole lot that went on later in 1984. So we're going to jump to 1985 now, which was on March 17th. Maria Hernandez was getting out of her car, and she was approached by an individual who then shot her in the face, but she went to block it, and when she did, she had her car keys in her hand, and the bullet ricocheted off of the keys and didn't kill her. So at that point,
how crazy is that?
I know.
Like,
well, it was a 22.
It
was a 22. So they're very like low caliber guns, and so like they don't do much damage. Like some people who've been shot with a 22 caliber don't even know that they've been shot. So yeah, it's crazy.
So crazy.
It's crazy. So at that point, Richard went into Maria's house, and she had a roommate there, Dale Akazaki, who that was her roommate. She was hiding behind a counter because she heard what was going on in the garage, and so she hid behind the counter. When Richard entered the house, she looked up over the counter, and he shot her in the forehead, killed her instantly. So then also that same night on March 17th, 1985, roughly about a half an hour to an hour after he attacked Hernandez and her roommate, he went to the home of, I'm just going to call her Veronica Yu because I can't pronounce her other name and I apologize. Went to her house, shot her twice in the face. And then at this point, this was when the media dubbed this, oh my God, I can't talk tonight. These attacks as the walk-in killer or the Valley Intruder. So he was not known as the Night Stalker at this point because they did not know that like all these other crimes that were about to happen were going to be linked together. So on March 27, 1985, Richard entered the home of Vincent Zarzara, shot him in the head. His wife Maxine was bound and beaten, and then Richard ransacked the house, and Maxine was actually able to break free from her restraints. She went to get the shotgun that her husband kept underneath the bed, went to pull the trigger, and it doesn't go off. And the gun wasn't loaded, and the reason being is because I guess the grandchildren had been over at the house earlier that day or the day before or something, and so the granddad wanted to take the bullets out of it because it's not safe to have a loaded gun near kids. But it's also not a good idea not to have a loaded gun because you're in a situation like this because Richard Ramirez got pissed off and shot her 3 times. He then mutilated her body and cut her eyeballs out, put them in a jewelry box, took the jewelry box and took off. So that was nice.
This is apparently the first time that he ever took something from...
Yeah. A crime scene.
And probably one of the only times he actually did it.
No, like, you mean like a trophy?
Yeah, like a trophy.
Okay, because he's been, like, stealing and robbing houses.
Like
that's
a trophy,
how he paid his rent.
A trophy from the body.
Right. So when police came to the crime scene, they did find an Azia, is that how it's pronounced? Azia shoe print in the flower bed outside the window that Richard had broken into. And so at that point, along with the ballistics and everything, they had determined that this was when they had a serial killer on their hands because of the attacks before. So now they're starting to kind of put 2 and 2 together and saying, hey, this is all linked together. Do you need something? Are you good?
No, I'm good. But okay. I was just going to say, it took them a while to actually say this is a serial killer. Because like we said before, there was no fucking rhyme or reason to any of his crimes. Like,
yeah, usually with serial killers, they'll target like a certain race, a certain age, a demographic, anything like that. But Ramirez, he was targeting whoever he felt like he wanted to kill. It didn't matter what your skin color was, what your sex was, how old you were, nothing. He just attacked you.
Yep.
So, in May 14th, 1985, he entered the home of Bill Boy. He was shot in the face. However, however, he was not killed instantly because, again, he was shot with a .22, so not gonna kill you instantly in some cases. And he fought back. At that point, Richard beat him until he was unconscious. He then went into the wife's room. So Bill and his wife Lillian slept in different rooms because she was bedridden and disabled, and so they just slept separately. And So Richard went into her room, saw her like basically restrained to a bed, and then raped her, ransacked the house, and then left.
Yep.
And that was it. So he didn't always kill the people that he attacked either.
Nope.
Sometimes he just left them there and left them alone. Next, on May 29th, 1985, he entered the home of Mabel Bell, who was 83 years old, and her sister Florence Nettie Lang, who was 81. He bludgeoned them with a hammer. He then took an electrical cord and electrocuted the woman from an electrical cord from a lamp that was plugged into the wall socket. Mm-hmm. He used that and was shocking the women with it, which is just fucking ridiculous. He then raped Nettie and then drew a pentagram on Mabel's thigh and also drew in their blood a pentagram on the walls. Mm-hmm. The women didn't die instantly. I'm sorry, I said in blood. It was actually in their lipstick. I apologize. It was in lipstick. The women didn't die, and they were found 2 days later, basically comatose. But then finally Mabel died a little later. She finally had to succumb to her injuries, and she passed away. Which is just crazy sad.
Yeah.
I mean, you're 83 years old, and this is how you die.
Yeah. I couldn't even imagine being laying there for 2 days.
2 days.
Waiting to be found.
2 days.
That's
crazy. A long ass time.
Especially when you're that fucking old.
Right.
With injuries, oh
my gosh. I know. So May 30th, 1985, Richard entered the home of a woman named Carol Kyle. He bound her and then also tied up her 11-year-old son, who was witness to everything that was happening. Ransacked the house and then came back and raped Carol repeatedly. He also ordered her not to look at him, otherwise he would have to cut her eyes out. So she didn't.
So on July 2nd of 1985, Mary Louise Cannon was his next victim. She was bludgeoned, unconscious, while she was sleeping. So she was already sleeping, then he bludgeoned her while she was sleeping and knocked her unconscious. Then stabbed her with a kitchen knife. July 5th, 1985, Whitney Bennett, only 16 years old. So as you can see, we're going through these ages, and it's literally all ages. Over the place. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
So Whitney was 16, and she was bludgeoned with a tire iron and then strangled with an electrical cord. It was actually a cord from a telephone, and when he was strangling her, sparks started to come out of the telephone cord, and this scared Richard because he's a Satanist. He thought that the sparks coming from that telephone cord was somehow a divine intervention from Jesus or God, and it scared him, so he stopped. Whitney actually survived that attack because he left without finishing the job, and she received 478 stitches to fix her face. Well, to fix it as best as it could, because if you're being bludgeoned with a tire iron, you're never looking the same after that. So July 7th, Joyce Nelson, 61 years old. She was beat to death with his fist and kicks to the head. So didn't even use a weapon for that one. He just beat her with his fist and kicked her until she died.
I think she was sleeping on the couch when he attacked her. Mm-hmm. I think that's what I remember hearing and reading. Don't sleep on your couch.
No. This was also another shoe print that was found, the same one, and this was found on her face. It was a perfect shoe imprint on her face that matched the previous crime scene. Now, when the same night, in all these killings, you guys, happened in pretty much 1 year time. Mm-hmm. And a lot of them happened same night. So this is another one that happened the same night. So Sophie Dickman, 63 years old, after he killed Joyce, he went and attacked Sophie. He beat her and attempted to rape her and then ransacked the house. While he was raping her and beating her, he made her swear to Satan and let him know that there was no valuables left in the house. So he's starting to get more and more comfortable with what he's doing. He's starting to torment his victims a little bit more instead of just dispatching them really quickly. And he's actually playing mind games with them now. And at this point, it's starting to get really scary in California. It's all over the media. This is one of the most televised serial killer cases, like, ever. Like, it was everywhere. It was all over the news.
I don't think it was everywhere, as we'll come to find out soon. Because when he was in Arizona.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was very local. It was all in California. It was televised in California, very local. But people were starting to get really fucking scared. Like, they were starting to lock their doors more. People were buying... There was, like, a surge in gun purchases. There was people putting...
new locks on
putting alarm systems in. Like, people were starting to freak out. Let's see. On July 20th, Layla Needing, 66, and Maxon Needing, 68, were attacked with a machete.
A machete.
Fucking
like
machete.
He's fucking Jason.
And then shot in the head. He then further...
Do you think he wore a mask? Oh, no, he didn't wear a mask. He didn't wear a mask at any of these things.
Nope. He further mutilated the bodies with the machete after they were killed. So I'm not sure what that means, but I'm pretty sure he just chopped them up, made a bunch of cuts on their body. You know. July 20th, Chainarong Kawaravath was shot in the head.
Disrespect that person.
And some kid, Konovath, was raped and beaten, then dragged around the house to show Ramirez the valuables. So he started to do this, you know, kind of like in the same order. He would dispatch the husband quickly, shoot them. Then he would go back for the wife, rape them, beat them, and then kill them slowly while making them say their love to Satan. August 6th, Virginia Peterson, 27, was shot in the face. Chris Peterson was shot in the neck. He fought back, but Ramirez fled the scene. They both survived that attack, by the way.
Could you imagine, like, that's what you... Like, they're planning to get married.
Yeah.
And then they're attacked.
Yeah.
Man, I hope they're still married. That would... Anyways.
Let's see. August 8th, Elias Abuwath, 31, shot in the head. Sakina Abuwath, 27, was beaten and forced to show him where the family jewels were. She was brutally raped and made to swear to Satan so she wouldn't scream. Her 3-year-old son, as she was being raped, walked in the room. Richard acknowledged that he was in the room and chained him up to the bed and continued to rape his mother in front of him. August 18th, Ramirez left LA. He left the LA area and went to San Francisco. This is a group of killings that he didn't actually commit in LA. There was 2 places.
Yeah, he moved to a different place, a different area.
So before we change to the San Francisco murders, I want to talk a little bit about, because you don't have it in the notes, about the hotel that he was staying at. Did you read anything about this? Hotel Cecil? You didn't read anything about it?
No.
Oh my God. We're going to have to do a video on just the Cecil Hotel.
Wait, is this the one where, like, some family also died?
Like, a lot of people died there. Like, there's a giant fucking list of people that died there.
Oh, okay.
This is also, do you remember a couple years ago where that, the Asian student was she was visiting from college, and they have, like, videos of her acting really weird in the hotel.
Elisa Lam?
Yes. They found her in the water tanks. That's at the Cecil.
Okay.
And also...
nope. Didn't read anything about that.
Also, the American Horror Story season hotel is pretty much based loosely off of Cecil.
And H.H. Holmes.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, we might do a whole video of the Cecil Hotel, because
we're going to.
I know a little bit about this hotel, and that's some fucked
Crazy.
up shit has happened there.
We'll do it.
There's definitely some crazy supernatural things going on in that hotel.
Cool.
So he was staying at the Cecil. It's a pretty well-known hotel in the area over there, and it's close to Skid Row because he was also in the midst of doing all these fucking murders, ingesting copious amounts of cocaine.
Yes, that was a big thing.
Large amounts of cocaine. Every day, just cocaine up the nose.
Get out of here. Go. Sorry, it's my dog. She's being annoying.
We didn't beat her, I swear. She's
a super sensitive dog.
She's a tit.
You blow
That's
on
all
her
right.
and she fucking cries.
Anyways, so he left
Stop it.
he left LA and went to San Francisco. While in San Francisco, his first victim, Peter Pan. Let's not make fun of that name.
I'm not.
Was shot in the head with a .25 caliber gun. Barbara Pan was beaten and sexually assaulted and then shot in the head. Ramirez again used the red lipstick to draw a pentagram on the wall and also Jack the Knife.
I don't know.
I'd got no other research on why he wrote Jack the Knife.
Yeah, me either.
Like
Nothing.
This man didn't make no sense, you guys. Mm-hmm. He was just
all over the place.
Just a psychopath.
Yep.
Pretty much just
wanted to kill.
He was just a psychopath. Let's see. It was at this point that the police found more shoe prints and bullets that were matched other crime scenes from LA. So they linked those two towns together. They linked those cases together. The media actually leaked the brand of shoes from the shoe prints that were on like 3 different fucking cases, which was dumb because
yes.
Richard was all about watching himself on the news. He was
yeah.
all about wanting to know what we had on him or what the police had on him, how close they were, because he
and how sadistic he was, and just hearing basically just hearing about himself.
He just liked the ego trip pretty much. So what does he do when he hears about the fucking shoes that they have prints on? He's like, all right, fine, bitches. He takes his shoes and throws them over Golden Gate Bridge. Well, those shoes are no longer going to be on any of the fucking crime scenes, so good job, media.
I bet every man who wore those shoes threw them into
the trash.
Yes.
Yeah. And that was a popular shoe, Avia shoes.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I don't think that they're very popular anymore, though.
No.
Okay. So on August 24th, he broke in 1985. He attempted to break into the house of James Ramiro Jr. However, I think they had been like away on a trip or a vacation or something after, like to Mexico, and they had gotten back, and their 13-year-old son heard a noise outside, and he went in to wake his mom and dad and said, "Hey, I hear something out there." So when they woke up, Richard fled the scene. However, James was able to give a description of the vehicle that he was in, which also, by the way, a lot of these houses that Richard went to, he had stolen a vehicle.
Yeah.
And was driving around in that. And so when James gave the description of the vehicle, all he said was that it was an orange Toyota. So August 24th, the same night, right? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
He entered the home of Bill Carnes, shot him in the head 3 times. And then told his wife, or the person that was living there, his significant other, Inez Erickson, that he was the Night Stalker, forced her to swear her love to Satan, beat her, and raped her. And then he made her continue to swear to Satan and continue to say that there were, swear to Satan that there were no more valuables in the house. When he was, I don't know what that noise is back there, but it's kind of creepy. I don't know if you just heard what was happening. Okay. When he was leaving, he told Inez to tell them that the Night Stalker was here. Bill survived after surgeons removed the bullets from his head. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine being shot in the head 3 times and surviving? Crazy. Inez, so this, Inez was kept alive. She was not killed, obviously, because he wanted, I'm pretty sure that he wanted the fame, like, you know, because he's all over the news, the Night Stalker, and he tells her, you know, tell him that the Night Stalker was here. Well, she gave a very good description as to what he looked like. And then they also found, they were able to connect. They found like a shoe print at Bill Carnes's house, and also that same shoe print at James Ramiro. Ramiro. What? Yeah. Oh my God, I can't talk tonight. Oh my God, I'm sorry.
That's the contacts, you can't see.
That's the contacts. That's what I'm thinking, because like now, like I feel it. It's like starting to scratch, so I'll probably not be able to see tomorrow. Anyways, so the shoe prints were found at both locations, and they were able to link it. Like yes, this was the work of the Night Stalker. They also found the orange Toyota that Ramiro had described. And they were able to get a fingerprint off of the rearview mirror. Now, the whole car had been wiped down, but Richard wasn't as clever as he thought he was. And he forgot to wipe down the rearview mirror, and that's where they pulled the fingerprint. And as soon as they pulled that fingerprint, they ran it, and guess what popped up? Good old Richard Ramirez's mugshot. So then they released that mugshot all over the media, and the police had a conference, and they said at the conference, we know who you are now, and soon everyone else will. There will be no place for you to hide. Bam. Richard.
Bam, Richard.
Sick man.
So, now we're going to get a little justice up in here.
Kind of.
Well, yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
So, Ramirez went to visit his brother in Tucson, Arizona on August 30th, 1985. He was unaware at this point that he was all over the media. It had spread further out from California now, and it was starting to become national news. And it was not just in his little bubble. Anymore. When he returned to California on August 31st, and he walked right past a police station. He walked past a police station to get to a train station.
No. He walked. So the police were at the train station because they thought that he was going to be fleeing. So they posted it at like all the bus stations and train stations and stuff. And so, but what they didn't know was that he was already out of town. So they weren't expecting him to be coming back into town. So nobody was paying attention to that. So Ramirez just kept his head down and just kept on walking.
Sneaky bitch.
Anyways, yeah, sneaky bitch is right.
Anyway, so Ramirez walked into a convenience store where he finally saw one of his pictures on front fucking page news. And then an elderly woman in the store literally started yelling, El Matador, which means killer in Spanish. Ramirez fled the store. People started chasing this man all through this fucking neighborhood. He got chased down by, like, literally everybody in the neighborhood.
Like, they saw, like, he was running. People saw other people chasing him. They stopped what they were doing in their yards and chased after him.
They were yelling, Night Stalker, Night Stalker. Like, everybody on the street knew who he was at that point, and they were not letting him fucking get away.
Good for them.
The police arrived and saw a mob attacking him, and this is when it was over for Richard, pretty much. He was trying his hardest to get away. Like, this was a pretty good chase, like a 20-minute chase that these people were chasing him through the neighborhood. He almost got away. And the police finally showed up.
Yeah.
The final blow was actually one of the neighborhood men hit him over the head with a giant fucking pipe and knocked him down. And that's when the police were able to come in and grab him.
He was reaching for the police to save him.
Yeah. I feel like if the police hadn't shown up,
they would have killed him.
They would have killed him.
Oh, most definitely. You okay?
I'm good.
All right. So This was in 1985.
Yeah.
The jury selection for his trial didn't take place until 1988. So 3 years later, it's because Richard was stalling as much as he possibly can. Like, I don't know. I mean, he knew he was going to be sentenced to death, and he knew he was guilty. He was just trying to prolong the inevitable. So, at his first appearance, he raised his hand, showing a pentagram, and yelled, "Hail Satan."
Hail Satan.
Don't think that the jury's going to, show any sympathy for you.
No.
But whatever. And so people were so amped up about this trial and so on edge about it. There were rumors going around that people had heard Richard talking and saying that he was planning on having a gun smuggled into the courtroom and he was going to shoot the prosecutor. Coincidentally, one of the jurors that had been selected, she actually had been shot at her house. And so people were freaking out that it was Richard. He had hired somebody or had gotten somebody to go over there and kill her. But it actually turns out that no, that wasn't the case at all. It was just an incident of domestic assault and domestic violence. It was actually like her boyfriend or fiance or something. And then he actually went and killed himself. Yeah. So
and by the way, this trial was a fucking circus, you guys. Like, he put on this show for everybody. He went in wearing sunglasses the whole time, showing his pentagram tattoo, acting like a fucking rock star pretty much. Like, he had
basking in all of the limelight. Like, he loved it. He loved it so much, which is just disturbing and disgusting.
Almost as disturbing as all the women that fawned over him. Like,
oh my gosh.
He had a fan club in the courtroom. Like, he just had girls swooning over him. And I'm like,
well, he got married.
He did get married.
He got married. There was a 41-year-old journalist who was in freaking love with him, and they got fucking married.
And she wasn't stupid either. Her IQ was like 152 or something.
I don't know what the hell. She had something freaking wrong with her. But man, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Anyways, they never actually, what's it called when you...
consummate?
They never consummated their marriage because they couldn't have conjugal visits in prison, but, whatever. So finally, on September 20th, 1989, so 4 years after being arrested, he was finally convicted on all charges. And those charges were 13 counts of murder, 5 attempted murder, 11 sexual assaults, and 14 burglaries. So then less than 2 months later, in November 7th, 1989, that was when he was sentenced to death in the gas chamber, because this is California. However, because we are in California and they have a very lengthy appeals process, basically any person who is on death row in California, they're not going to be put to death.
By the state?
By the state. They will die in prison, probably of old age. And that's not exactly what happened to Richard. He actually died in June 7th, 2013 of B-cell lymphoma. He had been on death row for 23 years.
I mean, at least he died of something painful like cancer.
I know. I'm sure he had a horrible, long, miserable death.
Yeah.
And he also had complications with, like, hepatitis because of all of his drug use.
Because he was such a druggie.
So, at least we have that to, like, go off of. Yeah. But I feel like those police should have just let that mob handle that motherfucker.
Fuck yeah.
Because what if he escaped? What if his little girlfriends had tried to help him escape?
Crazy. It would have ended a lot differently, I think.
Yes. So, that's our story on Richard Ramirez, the Night Stalker. I gotta go take these contacts out, y'all.
Your makeup looks so good.
I know. I hope you guys like it. Brittany, okay, so I'm not an artist. I don't do any of this kind of stuff ever. And so Brittany was like, hey, I'm going to come show you how to do it. So she taught me how to do it. And it is difficult. I have to give a lot of props to people who do makeup.
And I have to say, like, looking in the camera right now, yours looks better than mine.
Oh, thanks. It's because I'm new, and I was so worried that I was going to mess up.
Yeah, I don't think I put enough black on. I think I have too much red.
Yeah, but it still looks good. We still look creepy as shit.
We do look creepy.
I'm about to go scare the fuck out of my husband right now. He's upstairs. All right, so hopefully, I know that there was like kind of a long wait in between this video and the video before, but that's because somebody had to go and get sick.
There will probably be a long wait between this one too to get back on our schedule.
Okay, well then we'll talk about that. Oh my god,
I like it.
Okay. Anyways, we'll be back sometime. We're not done torturing you guys with these awesome murders.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching the Murder Mukbang show. You kill them.
We grill them.
Have a great Halloween.
Bye, guys.
Ooh.